Hello dear friends, my name is Gaurav Bansal and you're watching Indian Economy by Gaurav Bansal. Today we have a very interesting topic which is something nobody can miss. Newspapers are full of it, YouTube has thousands of videos on it and everybody is talking about it. Something that is very visible. If you look at the news channels, Diwali se pehle chamka sona chandi. Means the gold and silver prices have been through roof. They have risen very fast. दुनिया भर में सोना चांदी के दाम बेकाबू, सोने में तूफानी तेजी. All these headlines tell you about one thing, that gold has seen an unprecedented price rise, something which we have not seen in recent years. Let's talk about it. So gold prices, first of all, the trends are very clear that gold prices are increasing. There is no ambiguity about it. Gold price is increasing. And increasing by how much? From December 2024 to December 2025, the prices have increased by almost 90%. Means last year, if they were 22,000 rupees, let's say, for 2 gram, now they are almost, let's say, 40,000 rupees for 2 gram or 3 gram, let's say. So the same gold which you could buy for 22,000 is now available for 40,000, and that itself is a significant jump. Similarly, if you look at the silver, silver also has seen similar or in fact even higher increase. Silver, which was close to 2,500 rupees or 2,500 last year, is now hovering around 6,500. So almost a 3 times increase in fact. So gold silver prices, why they are running away, why they are increasing at such a breakneck speed. So this is something of interest. This is something that we need to understand here. Because gold and silver is not just a commodity. It is not just ornament. It is not just jewelry. It matters a lot. Why gold matters in India? Let's start with that. So first of all, India is one of the largest consumer of gold internationally. And if we remove central bank, if we look at just the people's consumption of gold, India is no doubt number 1 in the world. And gold, as I'm going to talk about it, it is not just a commodity in India, it's an emotion. It is something which has psychological value. It is an indicator of wealth. It is an indicator of security. It is a cultural symbol. It is a security against inflation. So gold has a lot of functions. And in recent years, when there has been persistent increase, it really raises questions, because generally gold increases when dollar is going down. When stock markets are going down, generally gold increases when people are looking for an alternate investment. So typically people invest in dollar. Investors in global market, they invest their money in dollar futures. They invest their money in stock markets, equities, okay? Sometimes in startups equities, through investment banks. So these are the high growth areas. When these do not perform, then investors look at gold. What is puzzling right now is that the stock market is doing reasonably fine world over. The startups are doing okay. Dollar is also increasing, yet gold is also increasing. So this is quite puzzling right now. Okay, so let's look at it. So first of all, let us look at the global factors which are increasing this price. So first of all, there is a global uncertainty and there is a direction against the risk. What is the risk? What is the uncertainty? If you look at the last 3-4 years, there has been a Russia-Ukraine war. There has been a major war in the Middle East, or what we call West Asia, between Israel and Hamas and its supporters. Similarly, there have been other conflicts. For example, recently there was a conflict between India and Pakistan also. There has been a relatively low intensity conflict between Vietnam and Cambodia, Thailand and Cambodia as well. And there have been a number of other conflicts in Sudan, in Kenya, in number of other areas. So world is getting into more and more conflicts each year. Old conflicts are not resolving, new conflicts are emerging. In future, we are very doubtful about the future of or the security of Taiwan. We're also doubtful about many other regions in the world. And this is what has created uncertainty and the risk aversion. In such scenario, when geopolitical security is doubtful, people do not trust markets, people do not trust the currencies as much as they trust gold. So yes, there is a lot of flow into the gold here. Clear? Then recently, from January 2025 onwards, Donald Trump policies have been highly unpredictable. He started off his term in USA with being very positive towards India. We were expecting that this is going to be a good American presidency for India, but the way he turned anti-India, and not just anti-India, anti-Japan, anti-European Union and whatnot, it has completely surprised a lot of people. That is also the reason why people are putting their money away from the dollar. Yet dollar is increasing, that's a different topic, and I will cover a separate video why US dollar is constantly increasing. I will talk about that in a separate video because that requires long explanation. But for now, take it as a fact that dollar is still increasing despite lot of investor moving away from dollar, and that is because of the activities of Donald Trump as well. Okay, then inflation and the currency devaluation. So dollar itself has not seen devaluation, but some of the other currencies have seen devaluation, and this is also the reason why people are putting their faith back into gold. Number of currencies which saw devaluation: Japanese yen, and last year it was also the euro. Now this year euro has recovered, but all these things send stress signals to the market. So currency devaluation is one of the reasons. Inflation. India is not being affected by inflation but a large number of other countries in the world are badly affected by inflation. Double-digit inflation is more common in the world right now, and this is because of the supply side crisis, number of conflicts and other issues. So this is also very important. US dollar dynamics, I've already explained that. Okay, and very interestingly, as I was talking about the Donald Trump's policies, it is maintaining to keep dollar strong despite all the investment away into gold. And what money is coming into gold is very important here. So in this context, I would like to highlight the role of the central banks. The way Donald Trump is threatening other countries with tariffs, and not just threatening, he is actually applying tariffs. India is impacted with 50% tariffs. In such a scenario, sometimes other countries can also take steps in retaliation. So the Chinese central bank, even Indian RBI and many of the other global central banks have started selling a lot of dollar in global market. And what they are shifting to, they are not selling dollar to buy other currency, they are selling dollar and they're trying to buy more and more gold from the international market. This is one of the biggest reason, in fact, behind the increase in gold prices. So fourth point specifically talks about it. Central bankers, because they do not buy like common people, like 10 gram, 20 gram, 30 gram, 40 gram. No, they buy in tons, 2 ton, 20 ton, 200 ton. They buy in this big quantity. So they move volumes and they affect the price without any doubt. Okay, this is one of the biggest reasons behind the price rise. Now, Indian case. In India, we do not have domestic production of gold. Gold is imported. And since gold is imported, if rupee falls down in between, the imports are going to become more expensive. So here, since rupee has fallen down significantly in its value, the imported products have also increased in price. So at least 10% increase in the gold is also because of rupee devaluation in the last 2 years. Rupee devaluated roughly to a level of 83, 84, remained stable at that level 2 years ago. Then it fell to almost a level of 87, 88, remained stable there. Now it has fallen to almost 92. So that has also affected. Imported gold has also become more expensive because we have imported inflation because of fall in value of rupee. Similarly, cultural and seasonal demand. So when did we had the peak price of gold? That was around Diwali. This is the time when people actually buy gold for various cultural reasons, festival purpose, religious purpose and other. So that was also the reason, because while its prices might have increased, still its demand was there. And global central banks were buying it. Meanwhile, Indian consumer demand also didn't slow down. So particularly coinciding with the Indian marriage season and the Diwali festival, the gold price is continuously increased from September onwards. September, when the Pitr Paksh or the Shraddh period in India gets over, and after that people start buying jewelries. Then cultural seasonal demand, I've already explained that. Okay, and limited trust in financial assets. Same, Indian central bank is putting its weight on dollar. Similarly, not just Indian central bank, Indian investors are also putting their money behind gold and some of the other assets. See, by now, since gold has increased so much, just look at this table. Gold prices have increased so much that it will encourage anybody to invest in gold. Let's say if I would have invested into gold in August itself, I would have got almost 30-40% return on my capital. So a lot of people were encouraged to put their money in gold at that time. By that time, gold price was already high, but still there was more scope to increase, and even now people are buying because they believe it will not stop here, it will go here. So this is the reason, because it is giving you very good return, more and more people will buy it. Here it is like a self-fulfilling loop. More demand, more price, more price, more demand. Because right now it is investment resource. Now, just this minute. Now, what is the impact on common people in India, individuals in India? So first of all, we talk about people who have significant gold assets, who have money, or investors. For them, it creates a hedge against inflation because they can buy gold instead of other financial assets. If they buy gold, the increase in gold prices keep them secure from the fall in the value of rupee. Then the wealth preservation, almost the same thing. If you are able to hedge against inflation, your wealth is preserved. Keeping your money in the form of cash is not useful because rupee is falling in value very fast. Inflation is also there. In such a scenario, your wealth will fall if you keep it in cash. But if you keep it in gold, if you keep it in certain other financial assets which are increasing in value, you have hedged against inflation. It will preserve your wealth. Portfolio diversification. So many people who do not typically put their money in gold are right now also putting money in gold, because let's say they put their money in stock market and bonds. Now gold is also increasing, so that gives them more variety, diversity in their portfolio. So that is another perspective. But this is valid for wealthy people. Okay. And again, high return investment area, I already explained. So much return is there. It gives people a chance to earn more. But it works only for those who already have money. What about those who do not? So extra burden on the middle class families. This is a very big problem actually, because gold prices might have increased, but the sentimental demand, the attachment to gold, every father wants to gift his daughter with certain gold in marriage if they can afford. So because people's aspirations, people's need, emotional attachment to gold has not reduced. Despite high prices, families are forced to buy very expensive gold. So earlier, buying gold in a marriage would have costed them 5 lakh rupees. Now it is costing them 10 lakh rupees. Again, I'm talking about middle class, upper middle class families, or families which were buying gold worth 2 lakh, now have to spend 4 lakh almost. So it's a big burden on upper middle class people in India who do not have too much wealth to invest in gold. They're just able to buy gold at certain big occasions in life, childbirth, marriage, okay, major samskaras that we have in our life. Then big problem when people put their money in gold is it encourages the unproductive savings. When we put our money in gold, we buy gold, gold is now in our household. It is not actually being used as investment. When we put our money in bank bank do not keep that cash. Bank give it as a loan. Somebody gets my extra money and uses it to increase their business. So my money, when I'm keeping it in bank, it is helping creating economic activity. But when I'm keeping gold, money is not going to some other person, and that is unproductive saving. So that is a problem here. Okay, locks capital away from entrepreneurship. Same point, just expressed differently. Unproductive saving because it is locking capital away from entrepreneurs. Again, same idea, jewelry, if people are buying, it is not a productive investment. Just the same thing with different expression. Okay, so gold protects the wealth but does not create growth. This is precisely the point. We are talking about strict production growth or economic growth, not just in the growth in the value of the gold, not that. Common people have nothing to do with it, and rightly so. We should not even expect that they are worried about the national GDP increase. They are just worried about that I have an asset worth 1 lakh rupee. If it increases, become 2 lakh rupees, I'm happy. That's how common people look at it. So there are certain negatives without any doubt, and this is a big problem. First is from common people perspective, and second is relatively more from economic perspective. Okay, impact on the financial market if we want to see specifically. So equity market. So rising gold price can signal risk of sentiment, means you can shift your money from here to there because those prices are also rising faster. They can give you good economic growth. Why to put your money in more risky area? Okay, retail investors may move money from equity to gold. Again, the same point. So stock markets might see further fall in value. That is a risk if gold prices continuously increase. Bond market will also experience roughly the same. High gold demand coincides with low real yields. So because of that, the bond demand in the market reduces, and that reduces the realization prices, and that affects the bonds. And it reflects the expectation of inflation or slowdown. See, when gold prices are increasing, then it affects the general inflation also, and it also increases inflationary expectation among people also. So let's say somebody wanted rent of 40,000 for its shop. Somebody has a shop in commercial market, he wanted 40,000 rupees rent. Now when gold prices are increasing very fast, he might think that everything is becoming expensive because gold is highly symbolic of the market price in a way, or the wealth. So everything is becoming expensive. I should also charge more higher rent. So they might increase the rent to 45,000, 50,000 because they are also chasing gold prices in a way, not exactly in the same proportion, but in general. So that is the risk. And gold financialization instruments, definitely their demand will increase. So this is relatively easy to pick. So these are certain impacts on the financial markets. And if we look at the Indian economy as a whole, then what are the issues? First of all, current account deficit. Current account deficit is related to our international trade and the transfers. So because we import gold and gold prices increase, our import burden increase. Okay, higher import burden. Similarly, when oil prices are also high, it further increases burden, and generally these two also increase simultaneously quite often. So anyways, high import burden is already there, so this increases the CAD, current account deficit. That's a big problem. Then we already discussed how the savings are affected, productive savings. Okay, household savings diverted from productive sectors and they're going into unproductive sectors. So savings are high, but which type of physical savings or physical assets? As a result, investments are low. In economy, investment means capital formation. Capital formation where we are using the money to increase the production, where we are setting up a factory, a shop, an office, something which will increase production. So that is not happening here. We are putting our money into gold and buying physical gold. So money which could have gone into financial markets, which could have financed productive activity is not happening here. So I already explained this earlier. Then monetary policy complications, because gold demand affects the entire system. It affects the forex, it affects the overall financial flow in the market. So it creates challenges for RBI, and it makes monetary policy management more difficult, because now RBI has to create more funds in the market. Despite gold price increase, we might have to go for interest rate cuts, which is not a good policy generally at that time. Then lastly, informal economy linkages. If gold prices increases rapidly, smuggling might increase. The other routes might become more popular. Nepal route or the Dubai route or other routes might become more popular. So those are also the issues. The transparency might get reduced, informal transactions might be there, and people can be duped off. Because gold prices are increasing, certain people might try to sell off their old saved gold, and sometimes there are a lot of cheating and duping in that mechanism also. And smuggling is also a risk, because now the profit, let's say they were making 3% in the process. Earlier 3% meant 3,000, now it means 6,000. So they are going to make much more by doing the same activity. So yes, there is more incentive for those people as well. So these are certain risks associated here. I hope this is clear, and this has explained you why gold prices are increasing, what is the impact, why does it matter for us, and how it affects our economy. Thank you.